Hey everyone, welcome back. Got a story that'll grab you today, so let's dive right in. My voice was steady, way calmer than the storm raging inside. My wife, Sarah, 32 years we'd been together, paused, halfway out of her power suit, right there in our Upper West Side apartment. "What's up, Michael?" she asked, her voice smooth, too smooth. A practiced casualness that didn't quite mask the steel beneath. Thursday evening, same as the last dozen Thursdays. Always late. Wall Street was maybe 15 minutes away, but Sarah was always at least 2 hours behind schedule. "I know you're cheating on me," I said, keeping my voice level, a Herculean effort. "And I think it's been going on for a while, judging by our, shall we say, non-existent sex life lately." Her response was like ice cracking. "We haven't had sex because you can't, Michael." Her eyes locked onto mine. No flicker, no guilt, just a cold, hard stare. "Ever since you started having your issues, and then those meds, you're practically neutered. And all you've managed to do is pack on the pounds." My jaw tightened so hard I felt the muscles jump. She knew damn well those pills were the only thing standing between me and a stroke, or worse. My blood pressure had gone rogue, a runaway train overnight. 1 minute I was dizzy, barely able to stand. The next my head was pounding, pulse roaring in my ears. I woke up in a hospital bed, 3 weeks vanished, lost in some medical twilight zone, 7 months ago. Now the meds kept the pressure down, but they'd nuked my libido. Frustration was a constant ache, made worse by the antidepressants that felt like they were pouring gasoline on a fire. Even the little blue pill was a joke, more of a headache than anything else. "Don't try to spin this, Sarah," I said, my voice now edged with ice. "There are other ways to be intimate, to connect, remember? It used to be a big part of us before everything went south." "Oh, intimacy now?" Her voice dripped sarcasm. "Fine. Lie down right there and maybe you can intimate me to sleep. Maybe I'll return the favor if you actually put in some effort for once. You know I'm not exactly shy, Michael. And don't pretend you don't take care of yourself when you need to." My stomach clenched, hot anger churning. "Like I'd touch you now," I growled. "I bet your underwear is practically dripping with some other guy's, just like it is 4 or 5 times a week." Her face shifted, surprise morphing into a cold, dangerous anger. "You've been going through my underwear? That's a disgusting invasion of privacy." "Privacy?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You're worried about privacy. Not about the fact that I know you're sleeping with other men. I can't get any relief, fine. But you're out there acting like some tramp." "Don't you dare call me that," Sarah snapped, her voice rising. "You know I have needs, Michael. I've always been a sexual person. I offered you other kinds of intimacy, remember? And you turned away. I've made my peace with a choice. Stay by your side as a friend, a roommate, or watch you drop dead from a stroke. Do you have any idea how hard it was, seeing you hooked up to machines, practically a vegetable? Helpless. I changed your diapers, Michael. Disgusting, humiliating, but I did it. My duty as your wife, to get you through it. And I still come home every damn day, don't I? I only go out on Friday nights. Friday nights that stretch until the early hours of Saturday morning. 2 hours late every other night, even though your office is a few blocks away. Friday nights that don't include me. And this has been going on for months, Sarah. Don't insult my intelligence. I know it's not just drinks with colleagues. You meet men, you dance, you drink, and then you go home with them. You offered me intimacy after you'd been with someone else. You knew what you were doing. Okay, yes, maybe a couple of times I offered to help you out, but you just wanted it over with, quick and easy. Of course, I wasn't exactly thrilled. Sarah's eyes hardened, her voice dropping to a low, dangerous register. Listen, I admit it. I've slept with another man. Like I said, I have needs. But there's absolutely no emotional connection. It's just physical. Unlike what we have, Michael. I think of him as a toy. We've always had toys around the apartment, haven't we? You never minded when I used them. You even used to enjoy watching. Think of him as just another toy. Something to distract me, make me feel something. I laughed again, the sound raw and bitter. A toy? David Miller? And a toy takes you to the Rainbow Room? Buys you those diamond earrings from Bergdorf's? Her composure flickered, a hairline crack in the perfect facade. We used to go out, Michael. Dinner, dancing, Broadway shows. Amazing vacations, remember? Paris, Rome, Bali. But then the pandemic hit, travel stopped, and you haven't stayed awake past 8 p.m. in months, she muttered. Then her eyes narrowed again. How do you even know his name? David? You've been spying on me. And Robert Edwards? Did David introduce you to Robert? Robert steps in when David's busy, I pressed, the anger rising, a tidal wave threatening to drown me. Sarah's face went dark, a storm cloud gathering. Damn you, Michael. You really are spying, checking my underwear, keeping tabs on me. It's creepy, obsessive, and all you do is criticize, make me feel like crap. You know you can't manage without me. I handle everything. Your doctors, your meals, even walking Gus exhausts you. This spying is insane. It's disrespectful. Disrespectful, I repeated, the word tasting like ash in my mouth. What about the things you've been saying to them about me? About how I'm useless, incapable, sitting here playing with the dog? You told them you wanted to lick their, off them. How hot you thought that would be. Sarah's cheeks flushed crimson, but she didn't look away this time. You heard that? She asked, her voice tight. Yes, I said, my voice flat. You said some pretty vile things, Sarah. Degrading things. It's not real, Michael. I was just boosting their egos. Those guys, they get off on thinking they're humiliating their boss. Especially their boss. You know they both work for your firm, right? But they get so cocky when I play along. I want them to feel like they're on top of the world. They know it's just sex. They have no idea I think of them as nothing more than toys. Darling, you're my husband. Toys take you to the Carlisle, Sarah. Toys get you that penthouse weekend in Miami. It's distraction, okay? Like using a personal massager. You know about our private conversations? Your eavesdropping. Sarah exploded. Do you have a bug in my bag? In my office? In this apartment? I just stared at her, my chest tight, anger simmering. But beneath it, a cold, hard resolve forming. She was deflecting, trying to spin it, but I wasn't buying it anymore. Fine, she said, her voice softening, a calculated shift. I know you're angry, but we've been together for so long we're practically one person. Yes, I've been with a couple of guys, but I always take care of you, Michael. Well, maybe not sexually. Not anymore. I tried, remember? You pushed me away. I want to make you happy. These guys are nothing more than simple toys. Seriously. You think I'm stupid, Sarah? I said, my voice low and dangerous. You think I'm going to swallow that crap? You're practically glowing with satisfaction, and you call them toys? You have zero respect for me, for my feelings. It's disgusting. And it's not just about sex, is it? You're enjoying this, enjoying my humiliation. Don't raise your blood pressure, Michael. Her voice was sharp, dismissive. They are just modern toys. You need to grow up. Be a man. Well, a man whose equipment doesn't work anymore. Except for the inevitable, I guess. I'm going to sleep with them whenever I need to. They're toys. But I always come home to you. You'll probably live another 25 years like your parents, into your 80s. And I'll be right here, by your side. So what if I get a little pleasure on the side? It's you I love, Michael. We'll be together until the end. She paused, then brightened, a sudden jarring shift in tone. I ordered in from Jean-Georges. Should be here any minute. I have a gallery opening tonight. Need to unwind a little. Was going to say it's a work thing. But since you know about my toys... Let's be honest. I'll be home late. You'll be asleep. Think of them as toys, Michael. Just relax. Adulteress! I spat out, the word ripped from my throat. Damn it, Sarah. You know I hate that word. It's degrading. It's the truth. You're trying to push me over the edge, aren't you? She sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes. I tried to be considerate. Kept it quiet. You want to call me an adulteress? Fine. Maybe when I get home I'll just crawl into bed without showering, sweaty, reeking of sex. How's that for you? Get out, I said. The words barely a whisper, but filled with a force that surprised even me. Just get out. I turned away, walked towards the window, the city lights blurring through my suddenly watery eyes. Our golden retriever, Gus, nudged my hand, a warm, comforting presence. At least I had one friend who still offered unconditional loyalty, unconditional love. That night, the guest room bed felt like a slab of concrete, the sleep broken and shallow. No way in hell I was sleeping in our bed. Not tonight. Maybe not ever again. If there had been a lock on the door, I would have bolted it. I had a sickening feeling she'd done exactly what she threatened. Crawled into bed reeking of someone else. I needed rest. A long, brutal day ahead at the firm. I was up before dawn, black coffee brewing, staring out at the pre-dawn city when Sarah walked in, already dressed for work, crisp and perfect as always, planning my day, trying to focus on spreadsheets and legal briefs, anything to block out the conversation from the night before. I ignored her good morning as she poured herself a cup of coffee, the clinking of the ceramic mug grating on my nerves. Listen, Michael, we need to talk. Seriously, I'm sorry I threw everything in your face last night. Maybe I was a little harsh. And for the record, I did shower before bed only to find you weren't even there. Maybe we can actually sit down and talk this through like adults once you get past your little irritation. Irritation, I thought. the word a pathetic understatement of the volcanic rage simmering inside me. I kept my face blank, my mouth shut, a monumental effort. I have needs, Michael. These guys, they just scratch that itch. Toys. They mean absolutely nothing. I love you. We've had a wonderful marriage. We've raised incredible children. I fully intend to stay with you. I want us to get along, for things to go back to normal, or as close to normal as possible. And for that to happen, you need to understand, to accept, that if you can't meet my needs, I have to take care of them somewhere else. I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't interfere with our home life. I can see I might have overstepped a little. Oh, and you need to stop eavesdropping on my conversations. It's unhealthy. I'm going to find that bug, track it down, and destroy it. And if you recorded anything last night, for heaven's sake, don't listen to it. It'll just upset you more. But you're not going to stop, are you? I said, my voice quiet, almost devoid of emotion. You're not even a little bit sorry for destroying everything we had. Destroying. She laughed a short, sharp sound. Don't be so melodramatic, Michael. What do you think is going to happen? Are you going to fire David and Robert? Make a scene at the firm? What will your toys do when they get fired, Sarah? My voice was still quiet, but there was an edge to it now, a cold, dangerous undercurrent. Oh, you're not going to fire them, Michael, Sarah said, her smirk returning, confident and cruel. You'd be humiliated, your little problem becoming public knowledge. Everyone at the firm knowing you fired them because they were stepping in where you couldn't. No, you won't do that. And no, I am not going to stop. But I'll be more discreet, I promise. I have plans to go to the Soho house tonight. It's Friday after all. I'll be home very late, but I'll spend tomorrow with you, if you're in a better mood. We can cuddle, maybe kiss, explore some alternative intimacy for both of us. Oh, damn, look at the time. Work, work, work. She glanced at her watch, then back at me, a calculated look in her eyes. Here's something else for you to chew on. We don't need my money, Michael. You know that. Or my career. I mostly keep working because what else would I do all day? Maybe I should just quit. Stay home with you. We could hang out, like buddies. My boyfriends are only available in the evenings anyway. Think about it. She smiled, a bright, artificial smile that didn't reach her eyes, and there was a definite spring in her step as she walked out the door, leaving me standing there, cold coffee in hand, the city waking up around me, but my own world crumbling. In some twisted way, Sarah was right about one thing. Listening to the rest of the recording from the night before would have been unpleasant. But I had listened, skipped past the graphic details of her escapades, focused on the rest of it. That conversation, cold and brutal as it was, had only solidified my resolve. No more doubt, no more hesitation. It was time. Robert knows about us. Sarah's voice, sharp and clear, filled the small speaker. He's watching us, spying on us. Somehow planted listening devices. She raised her voice, a theatrical flourish. Michael, if you're listening, you can kiss my... I heard David, the man I knew as David Miller, curse under his breath. He's not going to fire us, Dan, David said, his voice low. He wouldn't want everyone at the firm to know about his non-functional tool, and he's practically retired anyway. Won't have to deal with him much longer. I've been looking, but I haven't found any bugs yet, David continued. He might have hired someone to plant them. Here in your apartment. We might need to get a professional in to sweep the place. Right now, I don't even care if he's listening, Sarah said, her voice laced with bravado, but I could hear a tremor underneath. He'd be absolutely livid if he heard about our little adventures. He only said something about sex, but he doesn't know about the really wild stuff we do. Wow, David laughed, a low, appreciative chuckle. He must have really pissed you off. You chewed me out that one time I called him a limp noodle to his face. You don't even know half of it, Sarah said, her voice rising with anger. He crossed a line last night, after I carefully explained that what we have is just sex, just physical. He called me an adulteress. I was this close to kicking his ass. I'm in great shape, and he's so weak now he wouldn't stand a chance. I actually imagined holding him down, spanking him like I used to with the kids when they were little. I even threatened to climb into bed tonight without showering. I know he'd absolutely lose it if I climbed on top of him and— Yeah, I get it, David interrupted, his voice thick with lust. He's going to learn who's the boss now, huh? You already know that, don't you? Sarah purred, her voice dropping to a seductive whisper. Yes, ma'am, David replied, his breath audible on the recording. It's so hot hearing you talk like that. I'm hard as a rock just imagining you doing it. Come on, let's go. Blow my mind. How about we call Robert? See if he wants to join the party? I didn't need to hear any more. That was more than enough. I thought about the steps I'd already taken, the quiet preparations. My firm, Miller & Davies, had been mine long before Sarah came into the picture. Years ago, actually, before we even met. She was entitled to half of our shared assets, a considerable fortune. But I'd already updated my will, leaving my share to the kids, every penny. I'd completely removed her. In New York, you could disinherit a spouse if you did it right, and I was going to do it right. Despite Sarah's optimistic predictions about my longevity, I wasn't betting on living to 80. But if I did, if I survived this, I planned to divorce that unfaithful, cruel woman and leave her with the legal minimum. Not a penny more. I was sitting in my favorite armchair that evening. Gus curled at my feet when Sarah swept back into the apartment, a whirlwind of black dress and expensive perfume. "Damn it, David, call me back," she was saying into her phone, her voice sharp and impatient. "I'm getting dressed, calling a car to go downtown. This is the 5th message I've left you. If you don't call me back in 5 minutes, I'm calling Robert. One of you, or both of you, better meet me at Le Baron. I'm not in the mood to be stood up tonight." Sarah paused, glanced at me, sitting calmly, a glass of amber liquid in my hand. "Oh, good, you're still here." "All right, you heard me talking to my toys," Sarah announced, standing in the doorway, her little black dress clinging to every curve, a smug smirk plastered on her face. "You know that's exactly what they are, Michael," she said, her tone casual but laced with a barely concealed superiority. She disappeared into the bedroom, the click of her heels echoing on the hardwood floors, and emerged 20 minutes later, the dress now paired with impossibly high heels, her hair perfectly styled, ready for her night out. "You seem to be in a good mood," she remarked, raising a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. I hope our little chat last night and this morning about my friends, who, as I've said, mean no more to me than battery-operated toys, has finally sunk in." Her smirk deepened, a cruel twist of her lips. "You're smiling, and you seem very calm. I think the drink helps too," she added, nodding towards the crystal decanter on the side table and the half-full glass in my hand. I nodded silently, swirling the scotch, the amber liquid catching the light. "Well, I'm glad you've finally grown up enough to accept that my little indulgences on the side are just me scratching an itch, nothing personal. But drinking too much probably isn't a good idea, especially not with your medications," she added dismissively, waving a hand in my direction as if I were some minor inconvenience. I set the glass down gently, the crystal clinking softly on the mahogany table, and called Gus over. The golden retriever instantly perked up, tail wagging, trotting to my side. "Watch this," I said, gesturing toward the dog. "Lie down, roll over, sit, beg." Gus executed each command flawlessly, his tail thumping against the floor, his eyes bright with eagerness. I looked at Sarah for a reaction. She yawned, a dramatic, exaggerated yawn, barely glancing at Gus. "That dog is the only thing that's kept you remotely entertained these past few months. Great." Her disinterest didn't even register. I continued engaging Gus, issuing commands, feeding him treats from a small silver dish on the table beside me. The dish, usually filled with dog biscuits, now held elongated pieces of something, neatly arranged. Sarah's gaze flicked to the dish, then back to me, a flicker of curiosity in her eyes. "You really do seem happy and content," she said after a moment, a note of suspicion creeping into her voice. "I think you're finally starting to understand that my little amusements don't mean anything. They're just like using a couple of toys to make sure I get some pleasure." She repeated her mantra, her voice firm, as if trying to convince herself as much as me, seeking some kind of validation, some acknowledgement from me that I finally understood. I ignored her, gesturing to Gus to spin in a circle. "Check this out," I said, my voice suddenly enthusiastic, almost childlike. Sarah crossed her arms, her smirk returning, a mixture of condescension and triumph. "I'll give you this, Michael. You've finally grown up." Her words were just a buzzing fly in the background, meaningless noise. I focused on Gus, on the feel of his soft fur under my hand, on the unwavering loyalty in his golden eyes. I picked up another piece of meat, Gus eagerly performing another trick, his tail wagging furiously. Sarah, now visibly irritated, checked her phone again, her fingers tapping impatiently on the screen. "Where the hell are those guys?" she muttered under her breath, her perfect facade starting to crack. I raised my hand, holding the last piece of meat between my fingers. Gus sat patiently, waiting. Sarah's attention shifted, her eyes narrowing, her gaze fixed on the dish, on the remaining treat. She took a closer look, her face suddenly paling, realization dawning in her eyes. That almost looks like," she began, her voice faltering, the color draining from her face. "It can't be." "Yep," I said, my tone even, calm but utterly deliberate. "I took the batteries out of your toys, Sarah." Gus sat obediently at my side, wagging his tail, waiting for the treat in my hand. The room fell into a thick, oppressive silence, the sounds of the city fading away, replaced by the heavy, unspoken tension hanging in the air. Sarah stared at me. Her smirk completely vanished, replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated shock, slowly morphing into a raw, primal fury. I drained the last of my scotch, the ice clinking against my teeth, placed the empty glass on the table, and leaned back in my chair, Gus resting his head on my knee, a warm, comforting weight. "Thank you for listening until the end," I said, my voice calm and measured, echoing the words from the beginning of this whole twisted story. See you in the next video.